Welcome back to Good Day State Line. We've been working on a murder mystery for a month now, thanks to our friend Tim Mahoney. Today, we're finally going to hear who the killer is. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Yes, it's good to talk to you, too. So, who's the killer, Tim?
The killer is Ghoulia Roberts.
You know, I had a feeling it was her. She has an amazing smile, and there's something about something sharp like scissors, right? That was one of the clues?
That was one of the clues. Yeah, and you could tell that that was a good suspect from the beginning.
For sure. So, of course, our winner will be contacted and wins that amazing basket we told you about last week. And that's not the only reason why we're talking to you today, Tim, of course. We also wanted to talk about some other things that you said, just really important, because you get asked about car wrecks and who pays the bill all the time. So tell us. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, welcome to the world of Zoom, right? I apologize. You know, this is just a question that I get so many times, and I know we talked about it before, but I just thought it would be a good idea to cover it again because there's so many car wrecks going on there right now. You know, who covers your medical bills during a car wreck? Well, your instinct is that it should be the person who caused the wreck. So if you're not at fault, somebody runs a stoplight or somebody crossed the center lane or whatever, your instinct is, you know, the other person or their insurance company should be the one that pays for your medical bills. But that isn't always the way that it works out. You know, there's a long list of reasons why that is, that's longer than our 7 minutes here today. But one of the things to think about is it's much easier for you and could well benefit you in terms of what happens in the case in the end if your own health insurance pays the medical bills. You don't really have control over this. The hospital and the providers are the ones that can actually decide. But your input should be, I want my health insurance to pay for the medical bills.
Okay, and now I have written down here to ask you about MedPay. So what's MedPay?
So in every car insurance policy, there's actually multiple policies wrapped into one. So you have a policy that covers the vehicle. You have a policy that covers another vehicle in case you damage that vehicle. You have a policy that covers liability in case you're at fault and somebody else is injured. You have an uninsured, underinsured coverage in case somebody else is at fault, you're injured and they don't have enough insurance or don't have insurance. And then you have this thing called MedPay. MedPay is usually a smaller number. It's usually 5,000 or 10,000. There is one insurance company, MetLife, I'll say them. They have a 50,000 MedPay, which is a great policy. And it covers medical bills for anybody that's injured in any relationship to that vehicle. Doesn't matter how it happens, but they cover. So the reason I said we should mention that is, if you get in a wreck, somebody hits you and you get injured and you say to the healthcare providers, I would like my own health insurance billed, they might say something to the effect of, we can't do that until the other insurance is exhausted or until MedPay is exhausted. That's the part that they're talking about, is that MedPay provision has to be paid out first before they're willing to bill your insurance company. And that actually is because the way that they get to bill those two policies is different. All the more reason that as soon as you're in a wreck, getting an attorney on your side so that the attorney can help you navigate all of this is very, very helpful.
I know, as you're saying it, of course, I'm trying to put as much of that information into my brain, but the real information that's stored up here is, well, I should probably just call Tim.
Yeah, the quicker you can get somebody that knows how to handle this type of stuff, the better off that you are, because there's ways that they can actually get a hold of that MedPay policy and then utilize it in your behalf so that you could actually use it for your uncovered expenses, for your deductibles, or for out-of-pocket expenses like prescriptions, or if you needed a wheelchair or a walker. So again, the sooner that you can get to a lawyer that knows how to grab those policies and use them to your advantage, the better off you're going to be in the end.
All right, Tim. So before we go, quickly tell me why you wanted to talk about this right now, because you said there's a reason.
Well, there is a reason. There is just a huge number of car wrecks going on right now. The number of phone calls that we're getting, and it's not just me, it's my colleagues that I'm talking to. You know, you can tell that there's just a great deal of uncertainty in the world, right? Between COVID, between elections, between other things. And people, when there's too much uncertainty, people freak out. And that's kind of what's going on. People are not paying attention. and in whatever way that manifests itself, there is a lot of wrecks. And so I wanted to just take a second to tell everybody, pay attention. Pay attention if you're walking, pay attention if you're running, pay attention if you're biking, and please pay attention if you're driving. And please, please, please don't look at this if you're ever in your vehicle, because that's now become one of the #1 causes of severe wrecks. So there's just a lot going on out there. We all need to slow down, pay attention, and take it easy.
That is great advice. And Mahoney'sGotYourBack.com, of course, is where you can go to find Tim Mahoney. I'm sure we will talk again soon. Thanks so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you. A pleasure always.
Coming up next, we're checking in with Laura from Health Alliance, and later, naming our next Fan of the Week. We'll be right back.